Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Q3 FY24 earnings conference call of Orient Carbon and Chemicals Limited. This conference call may contain certain forward-looking statements about the company which are based on beliefs, opinions and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Akshat Goenka, Promoter and Joint Managing Director of OCCL. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone. Along with me, I am Mr. Anurag Jain, CFO and SGA, our Investor Relations Advisors. We have uploaded our results and investor presentation for the quarter and 9 months ended 31st December 2023 on the stock exchanges and company website. Hope each one of you had a chance to go through the same. For the quarter gone by, our revenues have declined. The decline can be attributed to several factors, including the diminishing realizations of insoluble sulfur owing to reduction in input costs, coupled with weakened demand and intensified competition in the market. While in the short to medium term, the situation is challenging, primarily due to excess supply in the market, the long-term industry outlook for insoluble sulfur remains promising, driven by the anticipated growth in the automotive sector. As the demand for high-quality tires continues to escalate, the requirement for premium-grade raw materials like insoluble sulfur is poised to rise accordingly. IS plays a pivotal role in the vulcanization process, ensuring the durability and performance of tires across diverse driving conditions. With consumers placing increased emphasis on safety and longevity in their vehicles, the demand for top-tier tires is expected to intensify, thus increasing the need for IS. OCCL has always had a strong vision for sustainability. Further emphasizing, we are happy to share that during the quarter, we have invested to participate in a group captive solar power scheme in Haryana through an SPV. This partnership would lead to reduced energy costs while contributing to a cleaner environment. For this brief update, I would like to hand over the line to Mr. Anurag Jain to update you on the financial performance of the company.
Thank you, Akshay. I will take you all through the standalone financials of the company. First, I would give you a highlight of the third quarter ended FY24. Total income for Q3 FY24 stood at rupees 88.6 crores as compared to rupees 102.9 crores in Q3 FY23. EBITDA for Q3 FY24 stood at rupees 16.2 crores as compared to rupees 23.9 crores in Q3 FY23. EBITDA margin stood at 18.3%. Profit after tax for Q3 FY24 stood at rupees 6.1 crores as compared to rupees 10.4 crores in Q3 FY23. PAT margin stood at 6.8%. Now to give you a highlight on 9 months ended FY24 performance. Total income for 9 months FY24 stood at rupees 293.4 crores as compared to rupees 363.8 crores in 9 months FY23. EBITDA for 9 months FY24 stood at rupees 70.5 crores as compared to rupees 73.3 crores in 9 months FY23. EBITDA margin stood at 24%. Profit after tax for 9 months FY24 stood at rupees 29.7 crores as compared to rupees 32.2 crores in 9 months FY23. PAT margin stood at 10.1%. Though revenues and profits have declined due to tough industry conditions, we are confident of our business's long-term outlook. Our expertise and strong position in the global market give us confidence that despite challenges, we are committed to our values and strategies as we navigate through challenges, striving for sustained growth and success in years to come. With this, I would like to open the floor for questions and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. First question is from the line of Prachi Sharma from Ace Investors. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning. I just have a couple of questions. Number one being, you said that the demand has been sort of weak. So I just wanted to know which regions are we seeing a hit and when do we expect the scenario to normalize? Secondly, how you mentioned right now about the energy cost savings. So how much of the energy cost savings can we expect from the, and the last question being, have we been affected by the Red Sea trade in any way? Have we seen any disruption because of the Red Sea?
So I will answer your last question first. Yes, we are facing difficulties because of the Red Sea disruption, because in our export, our freight rates have gone up, and also the transit time, because now the ships have to navigate through South Africa. So that is why we are facing issues about it. As far as saving from captive convention solar power plant is concerned, we expect about 50 lakh units or thereabouts to be bought from the captive solar plant in a year per annum. So that is the amount that we will save in terms of sustainability and also in terms of cost. Your third point was that which are the regions which are where we are witnessing weakness. So basically there are two aspects. Europe, there is a slowdown, and therefore the demand has come down in Europe for insoluble sulfur. Secondly, because of oversupply in China, China is dumping material in the Asia Pacific region at lower rates, and that is also affecting our supplies in the Asia Pacific. I hope I have answered your question.
Got it, sir. Just to follow up on the third question, which was on the Red Sea. So do you see any normalization on that front? Do you foresee that happening in the near future, as in the couple of quarters?
I hope so, because international community, the whole of international community is affected, and strong actions are being taken against the Houthis there. So hopefully this should correct itself in a few months.
Got it, sir. This is all from my end. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask questions. Next question is from the line of Dhruv Mukesh Bajaj from SmartSync Investment Advisors Services. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So I wanted to understand that what is our targeted product mix, say, 5 to 7 years down the line? As based on the limited understanding, product mix. Targeted product mix between insoluble sulfur and sulfuric division. Since we are already market leaders in insoluble sulfur, and if tire market grows at the say 3 to 4%, and we are planning to increase our global market share from 10 to 12%, and I also think that around 6 to 7% volume growth might come. So is my understanding regarding the growth potential in the insoluble sulfur division correct? And how do we see the sulfuric acid division going forward?
Yeah, on insoluble sulfur, that is the kind of growth one should expect, around 5%. And the sulfuric acid is a different thing, because we expect that we'll be operating full capacity and selling out full capacity of sulfuric acid.
Okay. So what is the margin differential between the two products?
Well, sulfuric acid is a very good margin product as of today. Earlier we used to have a good margin, but because of subsidy issues with FSP, most of the FSP plants have shut down. So the margins have shrunk in acid, and both are not comparable because the price points are very different. Sulfuric acid sells for around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees a ton. while insoluble sulfur sells about 125,000 plus minus 15,000 rupees a ton. So they are both comparable with each other.
Got it, sir. And we earlier incurred heavy capex, post which the demand and pricing scenario has worsened in the last 2 years. So I wanted to know that what is our current capacity utilization for both the segments, and what is the revenue potential at current realizations in the insoluble sulfur segment?
So for sulfuric acid, since January we are operating at full capacity. That is because of the steam and power which is generated from the plant. We are operating that plant at full capacity. And as far as insoluble sulfur is concerned, currently the capacity utilization would be just a minimum. It should be about 70 to 75%.
Got it, sir. Okay, sir. What is the demerger timeline? As you have already submitted the filing, so by what time are you expecting this to complete?
We are expecting it soon. The final stages in the court.
Got it, sir. And sir, I really appreciate your decision of demerging the investment business. Now, since we are generating substantial cash flows and the reinvestment opportunities in the core business at the current juncture look limited, so how do you look at the capital allocation going forward?
Let us see what the cash flows are like and cross the bridge when we reach there.
Sorry?
I said first, let us see after demerger what the cash flows are like for the coming years. We even have some debt that needs to be paid down. And accordingly, we will take calls at that stage.
Okay, sir. Okay. So our reinvestment opportunity, I just wanted to understand this, directionally speaking, will our reinvestment opportunities be more in the current insoluble sulfur division, or do we have some other divisions in mind going forward?
No, once the demerger is done, there is only insoluble sulfur and nothing else in the demerger, in the new company.
Right.
Insoluble sulfur and sulfuric acid.
Okay, so we plan on remaining only in that particular segment going forward and not diversifying to other segments. So I just wanted to understand that.
Correct. In the insoluble sulfur company, that's what we will be.
Sure, sir. That is very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Aditya Ketan from SMIFS Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first question was also the newer capacity addition, which we have done in 2022.
Sorry, we cannot hear properly. Can you please repeat?
Hello. Sir, is it audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir, I was referring on to the capacity addition of 5,500 tons of insoluble sulfur, which we have done in 2022. So what is the utilization level over there, and have we started to operate the capacity? Because I think the last quarter you had mentioned that we are not having any orders for that capacity. So how is it going over there?
So if you are talking about the plant is operational. However, currently, as of now, we are operating at 75% capacity. So, if you look at it from that manner, obviously the capacities are not fully utilized. However, the plant itself is operational.
So, the 75% is the blended utilization, right? For that capacity only, so the 75% number of utilization, so this is for the blended, right?
Sorry, if you speak a little more slowly, Aditya, we can't hear right now.
Sir, is it okay now?
Yeah, just speak slowly so we can understand.
Yeah, okay. So the 75% utilization figure, so this is the blended figure. So the 75% utilization figure, so this is blended, right? So what would be the figure at that plant?
This is blended,
but one clarification, Anurag is saying 75% going forward.
Yes.
Not earlier it was even lower.
Yes.
We are
currently as of now.
We are expecting it to be 75% going forward.
Okay.
and blended.
So this 75% is in the next 2 years, right?
Sorry?
So this 75% in the next 2 years.
No, we are now, from this quarter onwards, we are at 75%.
Okay. This quarter, okay. And sir, you had mentioned onto the oversupply situation in China. So currently, if you can mention like from a base of 100, so the oversupply is around 110, 115, any figure like if you can mention?
It is very difficult to say because we don't have any reliable or accurate data about the consumption in China and how much the Chinese plants are selling there. What we do know though is that, there has been capacity expansion in the last few years in China and there is an unutilized. So if you want me to tell you as a percentage, I cannot give you accurate percentage as far as to how much of that is unutilized.
Okay. So sir, at least like if you can highlight, so this phenomenon of dumping from China, so this will continue in the near term?
Well, hopefully once the demand revives in China and in elsewhere, then the pressure on capacity utilization should come down.
But at the same time, the Japanese are also expanding, so one really doesn't know what is going to happen.
Okay. Sir, onto the sulfur prices, as you have mentioned that prices have come down, also it's like, so the trend is now towards the downward side only, or now we are expecting any sort of a consolidation at the bottom levels or any uptick in prices?
No, there is no consolidation happening.
Talking about sulfur and soluble sulfur.
Sulfur prices, sir.
No, raw material or finished product? I'm sorry.
Raw material.
Oh, sorry, Anurag.
So in sulfur, those prices have come down, but now I think they are in the stable stage for the last 1 or 2 months, and the short-term outlook is stable prices only.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Keshav Garg from Counter Cyclical PMS. Please go ahead.
Sir, if we see then in the past 2 quarters, from first quarter we did 31 crores standalone EBITDA, which is half to around less than 16 crores in December quarter. So whereas in last quarter con call you told us we expect growth in the second half, instead we have got major degrowth. So question is whether now in third quarter we have bottomed out or still things are expected to get worse before they get better. Where exactly are we?
So my feeling is that it has bottomed out. Bottomed out in the near future. It's very difficult to predict what is going to happen later. But if you're asking me between Q4 and Q3, then Q4 is looking better than Q3.
Okay, sir. Great. And sir, also sir, what kind of volumes have we, sir, let's say from our peak volume which we did in FY21 or 15, FY21, how much our volumes have fallen from there?
So they have not fallen. I would say that our volumes have been roughly flat for the last few years.
Okay, sir. So whatever sales degrowth we see, it is purely due to realization degrowth or there is some aspect of volume degrowth even though marginal?
On a year-to-year basis, it's roughly the same.
And the quarter-on-quarter?
Anurag, you have the quarter-on-quarter. He's asking tonnage.
So looking at from last year, the tonnage has been roughly the same.
Sir, I got that. I'm trying to understand that let's say in the first quarter when we did 109 crore revenue versus 88 crore in third quarter, so has there been any volume degrowth in the past quarter?
There has been a volume degrowth in the third quarter. That is what you are saying. Yes.
Okay.
From the previous quarter, there has been a volume degrowth. Yes.
Sure. Sure. Going forward, you are saying from Q4 onwards, you are seeing some kind of volume growth.
Yes, we are hopeful of a better volume sales in Q4 than Q3.
Sir, as far as the realizations are concerned, what is, in your judgment, where are they expected to stabilize now or increase or further decrease?
It's very difficult to say, but yeah, we are not seeing any signs of pricing increasing.
Okay. Sir, also, what has been the response in the United States where we had plans to ramp up our market share? Have you made any progress over there?
Yeah. We have got some business, and that is why we are saying that we are expecting volume to go up from before. We have got some business. Obviously, nowhere close to how much we wanted or we expected, but nonetheless, we have made a start.
Sir, everywhere we are hearing China plus one, people want to diversify their supplier base, but here, sir, we are seeing the opposite in insoluble sulfur. What is the issue exactly? Why aren't...
No, you see, China plus one, you are hearing where majority of the industry was dominated by Chinese, and then it became a China plus one story. Here, the Chinese have only recently started entering. If you actually look at the global market share of the Chinese, it's actually very low.
Okay.
What has happened is that the three major suppliers always had capacity to serve the entire market. That market has remained the same or shrunk. The American, Japanese, and Indian suppliers have got the capacity, but the Chinese capacity has been added to the mix.
Okay.
In short, that is what has happened.
Okay. Sir, now, like we are seeing China started dumping in Asia Pacific. In future, China can start dumping in European markets and US also. Then where do we go from there then?
Look, it's very difficult to predict the future and what the Chinese will do and what the view of the customers will be, whether they will allow it or not. This is something so hypothetical that I would not like to comment on it.
Okay, sir. Sir, is the demerger on track to get completed by, let's say, beginning of FY25 or FY24 end?
We feel so.
Sir, just one request, sir, since we are going through such a severe down cycle and thankfully our balance sheet is intact and we are debt-free on a net basis, sir, please consider a share buyback, sir, because this is the most opportune time to extinguish our shares so that our earnings per share can permanently increase going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and one to ask questions. Next question is from the line of Gurvinder Juneja from Fortuna Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. My question is about your threat from any substitutes to the insoluble sulfur that is your core market. Are you seeing any significant products emerge that are challenging the use of insoluble sulfur in your core customer base?
Currently, there are no viable substitutes to insoluble sulfur which are being manufactured, and we do not see something happening in the near or medium term future about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. My second question is about signing up new customers and any updates on getting new onboarding, whether Indian or outside.
Signing up new customers and onboarding.
So as I said that the cycle for this year is over and we have onboarded some new customers out of our targeted list. We will continue to be working on onboarding more as we move forward. So, product is approved in many customers, work is happening on many customers. So now it's about, getting the allocation more than anything else. And it's very difficult to predict on the allocation.
All right. Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question is on the line of Aditya Chetan from SMIFS Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the follow-up. Sir, my question was on to the North America market.
We can't hear you clearly, please. You have to come on handset and get on speaker mode, please.
Is it okay now?
Hello?
Hello.
Sir, this is on?
Sir, your voice is muffled, sir. Hello, Aditya sir, we're not able to hear you.
Sir, hello. Sir, is it audible? I am on handset mode only, sir.
Okay, this is better.
Yeah. Sir, I was asking on to the North America market. Sir, any sort of a market share number if you can give, because earlier I believe you used to say that we are planning around 10% of the market share into the North America market. So, any number that currently we are standing at?
No, we cannot get that number out.
Okay. Sir, on to the volume degrowth, as sir mentioned in this quarter, any figures total, like how much was that volume degrowth?
See, I'm saying on a year-to-year basis, the volume is going to end up roughly the same. So if you look at it from a year-to-year basis, it's going to be within, this year or there.
Okay. And sir, on to the prices, as you mentioned, so because of oversupply, so prices are going down. So can you, it would be a good thought to take, so these prices would be the new normal, at least for this one.
Sorry, you're saying the prices will be the new normal for?
So for the next one.
For the next? Sorry, I got the gist of your question. I can't tell you clearly. I'll answer it based on what I understood. In the near term, the prices are going to be at these levels. It is very difficult to predict when it will change. So for the foreseeable future, prices and margins will be at these levels.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Saravran Balakrishnan, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
This call is now being recorded.
Thanks for this opportunity. The first question is, sir, what's the current debt assets today?
Current?
Debt.
We expect, I think the current debt today, long-term debt is around 70 crores.
73 crores.
73, okay. 73, in that case.
And are you sort of looking to nullify this 73 crores, sir, or is there any guidance that you can provide on this?
Please repeat the question.
So, any target guidance on the debt reduction plan?
See, the normal debt repayment is going to be roughly 20 crores a year.
Got it. And the other question I have is on the private investments. So earlier, I think we have made multiple private investments on Bira and few other companies. So how are those private investments performing as of today?
Since private investments are not realized, it is very hazardous for me to say this kind of a statement on an open call. See, the list of investments are known to everybody. The date of investments are known to everybody. How these companies are doing is also known to everybody. What are the latest rounds that are happening? So I think people can guess how they are doing. From my side, to make a statement like this without realizing the money, I think would be a little bit irresponsible.
I can understand. The reason I asked is I encountered some of those investments in AG Ventures, right? But also we are making private investments through Oriental Carbon. So just wanted to know how is there any